Good morning. Has the morning been good? I don't think the chai was good enough. I'm not hearing enough noise. Was the chai good? Yes. I'm a Punjabi, I enjoy masala chai, so I liked it. I don't know about you. Was it good? Yes. Awesome. How many of you use Paytm? What does Paytm do for us? To me, it personalizes service. Just today morning, I got 2 SMSs saying Paytm has paid electricity bill for the house. Paytm has also paid electricity bill for my parents' house. Personalization, customization, taking care of normal problems, led by technology, fueled by empathy. That's the topic for today. Let me introduce Broadridge to you. Broadridge started off in 2007. We actually moved away from ADP, and the entity called Broadridge was founded in 2007. Broadridge India was also formed in 2007. 400 people, today 4,500 people in 15 years, scaled to this size, as every GCC today in India does. More than 1,500 GCCs in India, 1.38 million people, we are a part of that pool. But in 2016, we decided to do something different. We decided that let's become a part of the fintech area itself. Let's lead with technology. And that's when our technology COE was formed. A very small COE, 4,500 people I told you. We have about 67 people in that COE that's leading technology for Broadridge. Broadridge has a very, very defined, structured framework called ABCD, analytics, blockchain, cloud, and digital, for defining the modernization of technology for our clients. Most of that work gets done by that 67 people sitting in India. Right? So over the next few minutes, I'll take you through some of the use cases and the way we have kind of defined that. But why did we do that? 3 personas, really, okay, at the heart of every business. The persona number 1, which is the strongest, is your customers, right? How do you provide more value to your customers? How are you showing to your customers that you're leading the future? You're actually creating the future for them and enabling them to have that cutting edge over their peers and competition. The second stakeholder is all of our employees, our associates, the people who actually create this asset base for us. Our true heroes, our true assets, really, right? So how do you create life which is simpler for them? How do you leverage technology? How do you leverage process frameworks that ensures that life becomes simpler for them and show them that empathy? Right? How do you lead it from here? Because you're leading engineering and operations sitting in India. 15,000 people globally, 4,500 people sitting in India. You're 1/3 of the organization, so how do you lead that from India? And the last piece that you will see is really how do you improve value for the shareholders? How do you leverage the power of data to ensure, A, you are more effective, you are more efficient, and not only that, you're allowing your customers to have the power of technology to help them becoming more efficient and effective. So that's going to be what we are going to be talking about in the next few minutes. We'll start with blockchain. In 2016, when the COE was built, we actually started with thinking about the digital ledger, the distributed ledger technology. Today, we have 4 products live. We had a recent live go that just happened a month back. SocGen went live in New York and Paris with our DLT product, created, conceptualized, designed everything in India, right? SocGen New York and Paris went ahead, implemented that. That's our 3rd customer on the DLT. We are in the process of creating a revolution for our customers through blockchain. We've just been awarded the Watermark Award on that. Just the news came out 2 days back. The purpose of doing that was to first understand what does blockchain mean? What is digital ledger? Today we are looking at what is crypto and what does that mean to us. I have a lab which has just been set up, got only 4 people in that lab. So very, very dedicated, specific talent that has been hired to figure out what should be the future of crypto for Broadridge and for its customers. The next use case that I want to talk about is really how do you monetize data? Broadridge processes trillions of transactions on a daily basis for all its customers globally. Our investor communication business is very heavy in the US domestic market. 95 to 97% of the business in that space is actually done by Broadridge. Think about the data that we can use. Step back, think about how can you do it in an ethical manner to ensure that you respect the privacy of the customer and still build logical, useful data products. We've got about 5 products which we have built out of India. We actually did a sale led by India to a global bank last year for the last product that we built, and it's something that we're extremely proud of. Data is not something that is done just in India. I'll be very, very honest about it. It's something that is done universally, it's done by every business unit, but creating independent data products across the 2 large business units that we have got is something that India can do because we have that scale and we also have the knowledge across all the products. We have that excellence that we can do. The next use case that I would want to talk about and concentrate a little bit over here because there are 2 personas here. You're not just talking about your customers, you're also talking about your developers. How do you build modern scaled infrastructure for your customers? How do you ensure that the developer experience for each one of the developers is simple and is something that the person can do seamlessly? That's something that we want to do with what we call as modern infrastructure. From an application point of view, we have over 500 applications. 140 of them have been migrated to the cloud. And all of that has been done by a 9-10-person team sitting in India. Right? The entire work, so defining what needs to be done, what is the priority, and how do you migrate there. Why is it necessary but to migrate? We are a mainframe company, right? We have products which were 60 years old, which were 45 years old. Those are kind of products that we are sitting at. And customers enjoy those products. But they are no longer sustainable. You don't get talent that can possibly do mainframe, not even in India today. In the US, it's very, very difficult. But to hire somebody and tell them that I'll grow a career for you in mainframe is really, really next to impossible. So how do you migrate that? How do you get the power of mainframe into the next-gen technology is something that's really needs a lot of creativity. Why does it need creativity? How many of you use mainframe here or have worked in mainframe? Right? Mainframe, the performance of mainframe is not something that is still replicated by the cloud. Right? And that's where the challenge is, to decide which application, what's the priority for it for the customer, and actually kind of move it down the scale is something that's very, very important. Along with cloud, DevOps cannot be very far away. We have about 6 engineers who are doing DevOps, and we are hiring, finding it difficult to hire in the current market, but hiring. The scope of that is try and build seamless experiences for our developers so that they can concentrate on the most important aspects of their work. And that's something that this group of people are doing. We're also trying to see through this COE how we can expand the knowledge. So this COE also runs certifications, right? We partner very closely with AWS. I've seen Chandra around. And we are big partners with AWS. We run certifications for the organizations sitting in India. So it's not just technology, but also how can we do more training, how can we do more enablement so that the business units themselves can do that. And all of that is really led out of India. The enablement team is again about 4 people, not more than that. And running enablements the last 2 years, during COVID, we have actually upskilled about 400 people and provided them with the right knowledge to make cloud happen for us. The last bit that I would want to talk about is process. Like all organizations, we have gone through various cycles of software development methodologies. A lot of us are still under waterfall within Broadridge too, migrating to various stages of agile, right? Now, process frameworks get defined globally. They get cascaded into the respective business unit in India, and we're told, do it this way. So there's somebody who's setting up a Scrum team, still doing waterfall, but setting up a Scrum team. There's somebody who is actually trying to practice all of Agile, but struggling because teams are sitting in cross locations. Then there are somebody who wants to set up teams independent in an area and actually run that across the globe, right? So how do you do that? The advantage that we have from India is that we see all of that. We see the good things, we see the not so good things. We have the ability to take that information, convert it into insights, and go back globally. And that's exactly what we are doing. So it's not the COE, but India as it is today, with over 3,200 people from the 4,500 people in development, in technology, in engineering, that has the power to say that you are not standardizing. You are not using one template. As you scale, and we are scaling, we are growing every year, year on year, we are seeing a 10% growth at least. Standardizing becomes very important for scale. Templatizing what you do, ensuring that that is something that you create as a legacy to move forward, to measure, to report, to be more efficient, to be showing the right amount of productivity is important. And that's a huge opportunity that today India is building upon. What are we doing? We are taking and collecting processes from each area. So if you have Unit 1 doing a particular thing, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4, we understand what's working well, what's not working well. Is there a way that you can have standard KPIs for all of them? If not, then we figure out what is the right way of doing it. We do our small POCs, we create ways and means in which we can actually go back to the globe and say, maybe Unit A can do this, right? And this is the best practice that we have learned. That is the power that we have in India. And that I don't believe any other location, possibly for each one of your organizations, has anywhere, right? And that is something that I believe we should all be capitalizing on. I'm going to end my session with this, open for any questions. So the question is, what about the empathy and the curiosity? So if you look at each one of them, and you look at the human-centered leadership, right? And I started my conversation with the persona. Whom are you being sensitive to when you're building that? If you're building blockchain, you're actually being sensitive to the organization itself at large, but you are showing huge amount of empathy to your customers. So the 3 customers who have actually gone on to DLT, okay, and are now having a very, very technology-driven path to asset management, are able to convert to digital assets, have a cutting-edge technology offering for their customers have an edge over their competition, right? So for blockchain, our real human centricity was around our clients, right? How do we help them define a future that doesn't exist today? Data is more in terms of shareholders, in terms of how do we actually showcase that we can leverage data, convert it into insights, and actually build products around it. Those data products help us in two ways. One is we can go back to our clients and say, you're not doing this well, right? There is a lot of ways in which we've told our customers that these are your processes, and this is something that you can change. This is what data is telling us, right? This is the kind of profits that you could have made if you had tweaked your processes a little bit and changed it. The second is data also tells us, right, what are we not doing well? What is it that we could have done differently to do something better? It also helps us when the new regulations come out. We are in a T+2 regulation right now, working towards a T+1 regulation, maybe just a T, right? It becomes 0 days for settlement. If I do not capture the value that data gives me, I will never be able to make changes into the way I work, right? So the entire thing around being relevant and providing value to the stakeholders, in my opinion, is really a very big use case for data. If you go to cloud, there are two stakeholders here, right? One is really, how do you simplify experience for your developers? How do you uniform it? How do you ensure that they concentrate not on building stuff, on checking in stuff, on ensuring that the right code is migrating from one level to the other, and just ensure that everything happens. You have an automated regression suite, everything. So that's one aspect, right, where you're showing empathy to your developers and ensuring that they're doing work that they're supposed to do. The second aspect there is really for modernizing your environment so that your customers have the ease of doing that while you actually do all your data privacy things. The last one is very internal, right? The entire thing around Agile is more around standardization and how can you help people, how do you actually create fungibility across the various business units and therefore reduce the kind of space there. Agile has also seen us create lesser defects, and I'm using a very strong word, creates lesser defects in production. We have seen close to a 60% reduction in defect leakage to our customers, right? So again, huge amount of strength that we can give back to our customers there. Does that help you? Anyone else? Yep. Need a mic.
Hi, Sheenam. This is Mekhla from Catalytics Datum, and I work as a Chief Marketing Officer. My question to you is, what are your key differentiators?
Tell me more. Ask me more.
Yeah. For example, Broadridge is into fintech, if my understanding is right. So what are your key differentiators in terms of technology? Because I can see a lot of competition coming around in this field.
So from a key differentiator perspective, I think it's really our product suite, okay, from a Broadridge perspective. From a Broadridge India perspective, we have everything here. So a slice of every business unit is actually represented in India. Every product that we know has got Agile squads sitting in India. Every operation that we have from a BPO perspective, managed services perspective, is in India. So the differentiator is really the availability and fungibility of knowledge from a Broadridge India perspective. From a talent perspective, if I have to just go from my associate perspective, we offer, we have had people who have joined us as freshers in the operations space and today are product managers in the development organization. So the scale, the career growth, the opportunity is immense just because of the fact that we do everything. Does that help you?
Yeah, and I'd like to know more about your products.
I would recommend you go to our site for
Yeah,
that.
I will definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks a lot.